It's day 10 at the Olympic Park, and all the talk is of last night's victory by Usain Bolt in the 100 metres. My colleague Vanessa Corticas and I were there. Vanessa, what did you think of it?
I thought this was a great moment for Bolt. I think leading up to this race, he had so much to prove. There was a lot of talk about whether he could do it twice, whether he could win again. He had some injuries that he was dealing with, and he really went out there and he just swept the field away and proved everyone wrong. So I think this was a great moment.
Did you feel like this was the moment of the Games? Because I have to say, just slightly underwhelmed by it.
I think for most people watching around the world, it was, because obviously it's always the key showpiece event of the Games, the 100-meter final. And I do think because he had more to prove this time around, people were really eager to see whether he could do it twice.
But compared to Super Saturday, it just felt like the morning after the night before. It didn't quite really do it for me. I mean, the thing I felt was that having achieved what he did in Beijing, this was Bolt 2, and that it felt like also the race itself was, I mean, the distance that Bolt achieved over his rivals suggested that the great challenge, the great race never really materialised, although they did run their lifetime bests.
They did, and I mean, Bolt said last night, I was down at the stadium when he came to talk to the press after, and he said, you know what, this one means so much more to me because everyone was doubting me. And he said this is one more step closer to him becoming a legend. Obviously, he still has to prove himself in the 200 meters against Johan Blake, so I think that's going to be a big test for him, but I think more than anything, this was probably a big relief for him. And for watching the 100-meter final for the first time in person, I think this really did feel like the big moment of the Games. Seeing
it will
him win
work
that.
better abroad than it did
I think
in the
so,
UK.
yeah.
And the British sense of achievement, I mean, it's been fantastic over the weekend. Have you felt that as a Canadian?
It's been fantastic, but I have to say I still feel like for me, you know, it's great to see Team GB succeed, the host nation succeeding, but watching Bolt again, for me and as an international viewer, this still feels like the bigger moment.
So where would you place Andy Murray's victory over Roger Federer at Wimbledon?
I think as a tennis fan, the Andy Murray's victory was fantastic to see, but the question that I have is, does this mean as much as it would have if he won at Wimbledon? So he was at Wimbledon, but of course it was the Olympics. Would it have meant more in the tennis world if he actually
I don't know.
won at Wimbledon?
I mean, I felt that, you know, for him personally it was great. I felt actually the fact that this was Wimbledon was just actually not so long ago, about 6 weeks ago, that it just felt again there wasn't quite the impact. And Federer, you have to question whether Federer was really up for this.
He didn't look, I mean, Murray just seemed to thrash him, and I think the question is, you know, was Murray just really good, or was Federer just not playing his game at all?
Yeah, I think that Murray was, the crowd behind Murray that clearly lifted him. It actually might have affected Federer. I mean, it can't have been a pleasant place to be if you're not British. You know, the centre court in the final, you know, the gold medal match.
Yeah.
But I suspect that, you know, after the Olympics is over, people will have forgotten it, and the next Grand Slam, you know, the American will come up and it'll be time to move on, which is what we should do, and talk about your tip of the day.
Tip of the day. So my tip of the day is Jason Kenny back in the velodrome. So another medal hopeful for Team GB. Obviously, they've been so successful so far in cycling. So that's one to watch, but there's also more going on in the stadium.
In the evening, there's Elena Isinbaeva's third gold medal attempt, third in a row in the pole vault.
Do you think she can do it?
Well, she's such a showgirl. I mean, she will bring the crowd behind her, and this crowd will absolutely love her. But it would be hard to bet against her, and you wouldn't be surprised who pick of the day is going to be.
Pick of the day, it's got to be.
It's this lovely picture of Usain Bolt, who you can see is storming ahead.
Yeah.
And I think what it tells us is the distance between both Bolt and the rest just shows how much he's a class above the others.
Exactly, and I still think, I mean, for me, this is still so far the highlight of the Games, and just look at him sort of striding ahead of everyone else.
And the guys
he
behind,
just silenced all his critics.
I know. Anyway, that's everything from the FT today. Join us tomorrow for day 11 of the Olympics.